Good morning. There's someone there. Monday morning, back to a regular yoga schedule. That's good. Kind of a cold day, not so pleasant. I saw that earlier they were forecasting some snow, but I don't know that they are anymore. I think now it's just going to be rain. It's okay. So yeah, so this weekend I sent out some emails about the vaccine events that Christiana Care is doing, and signing up at their website, filling out one of the interest forms is really the best way to get in the loop for that. They will contact you as they have space available and when they're doing different events. I think they are planning tentatively to do another one this weekend. I think they're generally on the weekends. They usually have them in 2 locations, so one right at the hospital, and then one up at their newer location, up off Concord Pike. So you would get contacted about an appointment time for that. So definitely sign in and let your interest be known, and then as they have space, and they have these things planned, you'll be able to get an appointment. And then there may be unusual events where they may have more. So if you don't get an appointment for that weekend or that day, by the end of the day, good morning, Deb. By the end of the day, sometimes they have some of the vaccine left over. So from what I understand, they have to defrost it, and they defrost as much as they need given the people that they're planning to vaccinate. So then if people don't show up, which happens, they don't make their appointment, you have this dose left over, right? So you've got to use it. You don't want to waste it. And so that's what happens then at the end of the day. They may have a certain number of doses available for anybody who can, really get in there quick. I think that's my son's alarm going off. I can really hear that. I may have to go and turn that off. And if I know of those things happening, I will also send an email out. But those are, very time sensitive. And if you don't, unfortunately, if you don't respond right away, chances are somebody else already has. And so, but in any event, they're really working hard to try to make sure that people who want to get vaccinated can. I'm going to go see if I can turn that alarm off. Hey, Eli. Oh, can you turn that off? No. Can you have it turn it off? I'm trying to teach class, is why. So 9 o'clock is probably not a good time to set your alarm for. Thanks. Oh, there you go. That's a first. I don't think I've had to deal with that so far. Um, I think that's a little ambitious for my son to get up at 9 o'clock. He's quite the night owl. He is doing online classes right now, and his preference seems to be working at night. So then he sleeps through the morning. Except today, he decided to have his alarm off. And the great thing is, I got all of my kids these like fancy, like very loud. They have flashing lights. They have loud beeping. They have a little, uh, like a little puck that's attached to it that vibrates. And sometimes it gets on the floor and vibrates on the floor. And my husband's office is right below my son's room. So that's always very disruptive when that happens. So yeah, the flashing lights. None of those things are enough to wake him up though. So um, we'll see. But yeah, I asked him to please not set it for 9 o'clock because he won't get up and it will bother me. And my neighbors are doing construction, so that's loud. You might not be able to hear that though, because that's the other direction. But... All right. So, what should we talk about today? So let's talk a little bit about doing things and how this idea that what our actions really do matter. Good morning, Dora, and good morning, Carrie. Um, so I think a lot of times, we can get the feeling that we are kind of struggling out here all by ourselves and just working away, doing our little thing. Um, I think being at home amplifies this. We don't have that connection of, a work group or people, even, just being able to meet in person for yoga, right? It's different. It's a different thing when you're out there on your own working away. Um, and I think we can forget how impactful what we do can be, even if we're doing it kind of on our own out here in the woods. Um, so my husband has been super busy all last week, worked all weekend, um, like 10 and 12-hour days. And he's going to be busy all this week rewriting the program um, that they have for capturing the information for the vaccinations and people's personal information and the information, the inventory and how much they have and all of this, like all this information has to be correct. Um, so being able to like manage that data and get it in the right place to the right people is pretty important. And he's been working really, really hard, he and his whole team on this. Um, and it's been, exhausting, right? Because he's, you know, he really hasn't had too much time off. And it's been exhausting for me too, because all the things, right? So if you think your husband doesn't help around the house or someone in your family, um, watch when they aren't there. And you'll see that they really do a lot. Or maybe not. But yeah, I mean, if I ever felt grouchy about my husband not helping out, um, I have a new appreciation for the things that he does do because I've been doing all of them, and it's more work, right? Um, so being being aware of how your actions are connected to other people's is important. Um, we are all connected in this. And I can see, this is actually, although I know it's been really hard for my husband, I think it's been really good too, because I think he really feels like he's making a real contribution towards this effort to kind of fight the vaccine or fight the virus and, make a real concrete contribution to this whole effort of getting through this. Um, And I think that's great, right? I think all of us want to feel like we are helping. Um, and, you know, that's a good thing. So, whatever you're doing, um, however small that might feel, um, it's important, right? Keeping your sanity in a difficult time when there's a lot of constraints on what we can do, where we can go. We can't even make plans because we don't really know what's going to happen, right? Um, we went to Montreal not last spring, the spring before. We didn't go anywhere last spring. This spring, we were hoping um, over the summer, we were hoping that by this spring we might be able to go somewhere again. But no, that's not going to happen. So maybe next spring? I mean, who knows? So that uncertainty is stressful, right? Not knowing and not really being able to make plans is hard. Um, so we have to live in the moment, right? It's hard because of we're not used to that, but it doesn't have to be so hard, right? We need to shift our perception to that of just enjoying, right? Enjoying the time that we have now. Um, I think for many of us, it's difficult, for some more than others. Some of us are big planners. We don't do well with this living in the moment thing. We want to know, we want to have our expectations set. Um, so that can be difficult. But here's a situation that has really forced us to do this and maybe forced you to confront that difficulty for yourself. That's not necessarily a bad thing because, as we know in yoga, this moment is all we have. This present is all we have. And our actions in this moment are what matter, not what we planned to do, not what we might have done, um, not what we wish we had done, right? Our regrets or our future plans, right? None of those things matter. They may seem important to you, but understand that they're either gone or they may never come to pass. So let's focus on what is right now and keep our attention there. Um, it makes me think of this, I think it's a Ben Franklin quote. Um, Watch your pennies and the dollars take care of themselves, right? The pennies are what we have. And just like pennies, the present moment can seem very unimportant, very trivial, um, almost worthless, right? It's just, I'm just here, right? I'm just killing time. you know, I'm waiting for something to happen. But this is what's happening, right? Right now, this moment. Um, if we can treasure this time, make good use of it, not um, just tread water, then we can really um, have a dollar, right? We save those pennies, right? Make good use of those pennies. We can end up with something good at the end of it, rather than um, constantly kind of looking for that next thing, which may or may not come. So, what you do now matters, even if you might not think it does, even if maybe you can't see the concrete value of what you do. So, my husband has been working for Christiana in their IT and business department for 20 some years, and I think this is probably the first time that he's really felt like a huge part of a really concrete solution. Um, And I think for many of us, that's how it is in life. We aren't presented with crises or things that maybe we can really see our contribution very clearly. We are just a tiny part of a much bigger picture, and our efforts can feel very unimportant, right? Very like who even notices, who even sees what you're doing. But I assure you that what you do matters. You may not see it today. You may never really see it. But every word you said, every comment you've made, every conversation that you've had, these things all have ripples. And you don't know where that may end. Um, it's always very interesting to see people and their relationships. So I remember when my mom passed away, going to her funeral and being amazed at these people who were there, people that I dimly remembered her being in contact with. A couple moms that from kids I'd gone to school with in elementary school, like kindergarten, um, that I know my mom hadn't spoken to in, you know, 20 years. Well, I guess not 20 years, but, 10, 15 years. Um, but, she'd had an impact on them in one way or another, and they felt compelled to come see her off. So um, you don't know. So you just got to keep going, right? Even if it feels like what you're doing isn't making a bit of difference to anyone. Maybe it doesn't even feel like it's making a difference to you, but it is. Um, so be careful about what you say, be kind, be thoughtful, um, be careful about what you bring into your life. Surround yourself with things that give you joy, lift you up, make you feel positive and energized, right? Stay away from things that are going to bring you down. If being on social media is making you crazy, step away. You don't need to be there. If there are people in your life that are driving you up the wall, limit your time around them, right? You don't have to do everything. Um, you get to pick and choose. So put your time where you feel um, is not only helpful for you, but where you feel like you might be making some difference. And just keep going. That's all we are, all of us, trying to do is to just keep going. All right. So let's sit and breathe for a little bit. We're going to do that um, 4-8, right? The 4-8 breathing, which is inhaling to maybe a count of 4 and then exhaling to a count of 8. So, roughly twice as long an exhale as an inhale. Um, this kind of sets us up for feeling this sense of relaxation in the body. So it's good. It's great to do anytime, you want to feel relaxed, or you're trying to get ready to go to sleep, or you just are feeling upset and overextended. It's a great way to just kind of bring everything back down in the body. So sitting up tall, relax the arms, relax the shoulders. Breathing in and out through the nose. And then just moving back to normal breath. We're sitting up tall. Deep breath in, and then let the head hang down, chin toward the chest. Lifting up, keep lifting the chin. And then back to the center, take a breath, lowering the head over to the right. Try to keep the shoulders relaxed. And then back up to center, then moving to the left. And back up. Let's walk the hands out in front. And then hands behind you, fingertips pointing away, squeeze the shoulders together, gaze up. And then back to your seat. Lean forward a little, move around. One way and then the other. And then back up. Bring the arms wide. Take a deep breath. Exhale, hands together. Inhale, arms wide. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Once more. Inhale. And exhale. Interlace the fingers. Lift the hands. We're gazing up. And then arms down by your side. Inhale, lift. And lower. Lift. Lower. And once more. Lifting up. Right hand down by your side. Reach across with the left. Then switch. Left hand on right knee. Right arm behind you. Sit up tall. Deep breath and then twist. Back to center. Switch sides. And then back to your seat. Tabletop. Sitting back on the heels. Back up to tabletop. Let's move through cat-cow for a few sets, inhales and exhales. And then back into child's pose. You might bring the knees a little wider. Moving back up. Tabletop, let's swing that right leg around. So we're up on that left knee, arms overhead. Then hands to center, take a deep breath, and a twist. So you could hook the elbow, or maybe just press against the leg, pull that right shoulder back. Moving back to center, right hand. Down by the foot. Trying to get this, trying to get my knee in the right place over here. So right hand is down, lifting the left arm. And then let's bring the left hand down and lift the right arm. Both hands down to the mat. And we can kind of put some weight into the hands. Maybe walk the foot forward a little or walk the knee back. Just see what works for you today here. Then we're going to walk the hands back, kind of straightening that right leg. You might wiggle it up a little. Maybe fold over. And then set the foot down. We're going to swing it back around. Child's pose again. Let's maybe stack the fists. So we're resting the forehead. Moving back up. Swing left leg around and find a good place. Standing on the right knee, arms overhead. And hands to center. So if you ever have trouble with the knee, you can get, some cushion, a little pillow, some folded up towel or something to rest underneath here. Sometimes it's just hard. Your mat is hard and things don't feel great. So feel free to do whatever you need to do. Take a breath and then twisting here, hooking the elbow or being more upright, pulling the left shoulder back. And then back to center, left hand down by the foot, right arm lift. And then switch. Both hands down. Let's walk out a little. Just getting yourself adjusted wherever feels right for the day. Walk the hands back. So we're straightening out the left leg. And then maybe folding over. Set the foot down. Let's swing that leg around. And we are in child's pose again. And then back up. Let's swing the legs around. So we're at a seat on the mat, soles of the feet together, sit up tall, lean forward. Coming back up, let's bring the left leg will be under, so we have a knee facing forward. Right leg over top. Trying to cross one knee over the other as well as you can. And then grabbing a hold of the feet, we're going to fold forward. So you're just trying to set up for this stretch along the outer side. If you feel that, then your legs are in the right place. Okay, that's good. So it may not take too much to feel that. If you don't feel it, see if you can kind of move that leg over a little bit more till you do. And then back up, switch it around. Right leg on the bottom, left on top. Take a breath and fold. And then release both legs out in front. Take a deep breath, fold forward. Coming back up, let's point and flex the feet. Rotate through the ankles. One way and then the other. Bend the right knee. We'll hug that leg in, sit up tall. And then lowering the knee out to the side, bring the foot in close by the thigh. We're going to sit up tall, take a deep breath, and then leaning forward, reaching down toward that foot. We're folding forward over the left leg. So I'm trying to keep this straight on. You can see it's really my arm that's coming down over the leg. The rest of my body is staying pretty straight. And then back up. Switch legs around. Hugging the knee in. And then lowering. Take a breath. Folding forward. Back up. Both legs out in front. Take a deep breath. And fold. Moving back up. Bend your knees. Let's grab a hold of the toes or the feet here. Lean back a little to find your balance, and then maybe some extension. Halfway, all the way. If you're steady here, then try sitting up a little more, right? With legs wide. See how that changes your balance. And if you are here, see if you can sit up, right? It's not so much about being back. We want to be upright as much as we can, right? And then back and back down. Soles of the feet down to the mat, and we're going to lower or rock back. So we're resting on the mat. Take a moment to make sure everything feels supported and comfortable here. Let's hug the right leg in. Remember, holding the back of the thigh is better than the top of the shin. You are going to get a better, it's going to be easier, right? You have not as far to grasp, but also you're going to be putting the pressure behind the thigh instead of on top of the shin, and then also the knee area, right? Take one more breath, and then we're going to start lowering that knee out to the side. You can use the right hand to kind of support that leg or just sort of guide it in the right place. Breathe. And bring that knee back to center. We're going to draw it across the body. So we're rolling up on the left hip. Upper body stays kind of flat on the mat as much as possible. That right shoulder might come up a little. That's fine. And then coming back to center, extend the right leg, and we're going to bring left leg in. And then lowering. Knee comes out to the side. And then back to center, bringing that across the body. Keep breathing. And back to center. Extend both legs. 5-pointed star. Arms out to a T. And then bring everything back to center. Feet to the mat. We're going to do a regular bridge and then maybe a supported bridge. So 2 bridges. Hands by your side, heels back close to the body. Press down to lift up. Breathe. Lower back down. Take a breath. And then if you've got a block, find a good place. Rest the body down. And if it doesn't feel good, find a new place for the block. Move it around. A lot of times it's too high up. Try moving it a little lower. Then lifting up, remove the block. Resting on the mat again, soles of the feet together. Maybe bring the arms up over your head if you feel like it. And then we're just going to move into Shavasana. So we extend the legs, or if you want to bring them in, rock a little, extend and lower. Whatever is your preference for the day. Just getting yourself comfortable in Shavasana. So Right? Every day is different. You might have a couple extra things you want to do to get settled. That's fine. That is to me the mark of someone who is really working on their practice is um, people that know what they need. Right? they're they're gonna just do it. If they need a little more, they'll do a little more. A little less, they'll do a little less. Maybe an extra pose. Maybe you need to stretch a certain part of the body. By all means, right? Make the practice your own. Our practice is a good way to see this idea of what we do mattering, right? So if you've been steady with your practice, you will see changes in your body, in your um, flexibility, your strength, um, probably your mental outlook, right? You may feel calmer. You may feel um, a little more equipped to deal with some of the situations that we're all dealing with. Um, there is a um, resilience that comes from tapping into that source within. And just the knowledge that we have that source can be a real um, place of strength for us. So, something as small as going to a yoga class starts you on a journey that can really change most things in your life, right? Um, your outlook, your mental state, your physical state, these are things that have a big impact on everything in your life. It is very hard to help anyone if you are feeling ill or weak or um, like just stressed out of your mind, right? None of these things are helpful, right? When you want to do something beyond. And I mean, they're very difficult to deal with when it's just you, but certainly if you're trying to take on any kind of responsibility or um, trying to help others, those are things you really need to replenish, um, to work on. And um, I'm always I'm always so pleased when people who've been doing yoga for a while come to that realization that even though it might seem like what you're doing is just moving around through some poses, and every single pose itself may seem so simple and so uh, maybe unimportant just by itself. Um, and they really don't have a great importance all on their own, but as part of a larger picture, um, it is that practice, right? The consistent resolve that you use to come to practice, to get through the poses, to keep yourself on track with your practice day in, day out. Um, Yoga is a tool for polishing that strength of will, that determination and resolve that we all of us have within. Um, we talk about yoga as a classroom or um, a gymnasium, right? Where you are made strong, you are made um, you learn what you need to learn, right? And what we learn here, we then take out into the world. We have these tools, we have these insights into our nature, and by the same token, everyone else's nature too, right? It makes us kinder, more compassionate, more understanding. Um, when we can understand ourselves, it helps us to understand others as well. So, what you do matters. Even the smallest thing can have great consequence. When you're ready to move, you can kind of get yourself going, fingers and toes, hands and feet, maybe stretching, and then coming up to a seat on the mat. Let's bring hands together. Deep breath in and then out. Thank you for your time today, for coming to your mat, for putting in a little more effort towards your goal. I hope that you have a lovely Monday. Namaste. Great. Thank you. I'm moving right into 5 minutes of meditation. Let's do it. Sitting up tall, just take a nice, peaceful breath. Nothing fancy. Light, gentle focus, right? Breathe. Okay, opening your eyes. We're back to regular stuff. So, another way to do meditation, which I've realized that I have done before, is so I've got this song stuck in my head, and I have for a few days now. I don't know. I'm sure you've heard of it. So there's this thing online like sea shanties. There's some guy who did this like uh, sea shanty on TikTok, and um, I don't know. A lot of people did like remixes of it, and but it's very catchy. It's a very catchy little tune, and it's been stuck in my head yesterday and all today. So what I did for meditation was just sort of focusing on that song over and over again, just like a mantra. I mean, it works the same way. It keeps your mind occupied. But that's something I've noticed when you get those things stuck in your head. They call them, I've heard them called earworms, right? So when you have a tune stuck in your head, one way to kind of get it out of there is to just let it go and to kind of let your mind chew on it like it would a piece of bubble gum until the flavor's all gone and it kind of discards it. So um, it can be helpful, right? Those things can be helpful. So if you have that sort of thing stuck in your mind for whatever reason, sitting down and doing 5 minutes of meditation can kind of push it out of your system in a kind of a productive way. You get 5 minutes of meditation in while your mind is busy spinning that song over and over again. All right. Enjoy your Monday. I'll be back tomorrow.